On the first day of college freshmen's registration, I was dragged into a parents' group. The group owner, Jezebel's mom freshman version, immediately posted 50 class rules. First, everyone must pin this group to the top. Cannot block it. Cannot not reply. And cannot just reply received. Second, all female students including the head teacher are prohibited from wearing makeup, prohibited from wearing black or white stockings, and prohibited from showing bare legs, which are likely to distract male students. Third, the head teacher must record the situation of the whole class in detail every day and post it in the class group. Fourth, without the approval of the parents' committee, leaving the group is prohibited. As the head teacher, I couldn't help but leave the group after reading only the fourth rule. The parents immediately got angry and threatened to report me and replace the head teacher. I was overjoyed. After all the benefits were mentioned, what about the disadvantages? Whoever wants to take charge of this class full of crazy-like parents can do it. On the first day of college freshmen's registration, I was inexplicably dragged into a group by the parents of a student. The name of the group was Hope for Son to become a Dragon Homeschool group. While I was wondering, more than 30 people were gradually dragged in one after another. However, it seemed that everyone was as confused as I was, and from time to time someone in the group expressed doubts. Not long after, the group owner sent a message. Her WeChat name was Jezebel's mom freshman version. She all at once and posted the class rules. Just as a country has its laws, a class has its rules. In order to make children outstanding, the class rules are specially formulated. Please abide by them strictly. First, everyone must pin this group to the top. Cannot block it. Cannot not reply. And cannot just reply, received. Second, all female students including the head teacher are prohibited from wearing makeup, prohibited from wearing black or white stockings, and prohibited from showing bare legs, otherwise it is likely to distract male students. Third, the head teacher should record the situation of the whole class in detail every day and post it in the class group, with at least one photo and a short video of more than X seconds for each person, so that parents can be at ease. Fourth, without the approval of the parents' committee, leaving the group is prohibited. 50 class rules scrolled through the screen in a grand manner. The whole group was so silent that it was deafening. As the head teacher, I couldn't help but directly click to leave the group after reading only the fourth rule. Where on earth did this come from? Why is there a parents' group in college? Even if we take a step back, even if a group needs to be established, it should be required by the school. Not to mention that she even started to manage the head teacher. If one didn't know, one would think she was the principal. Office workers are already miserable enough. Because I just started working and was the head teacher for the first time, I paid special attention to this class. I got up at 6:30 in the morning on the registration day, was busy at the new student reception point all day long under the high temperature of nearly X degrees, and then had a class meeting for a long time in the evening. I didn't get to rest until 1100 p. And I was so tired that I just wanted to lie down and do nothing when I closed my eyes. Who would have thought that my small act of leaving the group would make that student spirit lose his temper on the spot? Another enthusiastic parent told me about it. She sent me a screenshot of the group chat after I left the group. I opened it curiously. Good heavens! Most of it was the group owner going crazy. Jezebel's mom freshman version. Who was it? Who the hell left the group without permission? So unethical? Class construction depends on everyone. What kind of person is this? So selfish. Leaving whenever he wants? Do you have any sense of the overall situation? Do you understand respect? Judging from the quality of this kind of parent, one can imagine what kind of child she has and how he got into this school. It must be thoroughly investigated. I propose that we jointly report and let the principal kick this parent's child out of our class. Don't let this black sheep affect our children. She ranted for several more pages. One parent couldn't stand it anymore and replied to her in the middle. Jezebel's mom. Sigh, a few less words. It seems that it was the head teacher who left the group just now. As soon as this statement came out, The whole group was dead silent. Even Jezebel's mom was quiet for a long time. After a while, a few parents also expressed their opinions. Yes. Jezebel's mom. You've gone too far. The college head teacher has so much work every day. He has to lead the class, teach, and also engage in scientific research projects. How can he have so much time to fulfill so many unreasonable requirements of yours? Yes. Have you never been to college? The responsibilities of college head teachers and counselors are different. The head teacher is mainly responsible for professional study and career guidance. Has she got it all mixed up? Even for the counselor in front, he doesn't need to fulfill so many strange requirements. One counselor has to take charge of several classes. I've never heard of other colleges establishing a parents' group. The children are all adults and should be independent. If there is really something, just ask the head teacher or counselor privately. Support. Support. I also support. Oh my God. I finally got out of so many parents' groups from kindergarten, primary school, junior high school to high school. I thought my child was finally free when he went to college. But she dragged me into this group again. I was doubting my life just now. Support dissolving this group. The children are grown up and should be weaned. Support dissolving this group. Support dissolving this group. After that, people gradually left the group. Seeing that the parents were leaving the group and none of them supported her, Jezebel's mom got worried. She sent a lot of messages continuously, trying to persuade and retain everyone. Just because they are adults, we don't need to care about them. In my eyes, my son will always be a baby. The child is alone in another place. How can you parents be at ease? Why can't there be a parents' group in college? Our Jezebel has been an excellent student since childhood. And it is all because of my great supervision and management role in every stage of the parents' group. By the way, the parents' committee is also very important. Let's elect the parents' committee tomorrow. When recommending the virtuous, one should not avoid one's own relatives. I recommend myself. I have served as the director of the parents' committee for many terms and have rich experience. Parents must take it seriously. Today, during the class meeting, I peeked through the back door a few times. TSK. The female students were all heavily made up, and the skirts they wore were so short. Even the head teacher was made up and wearing high-heeled shoes. There are so many young guys in the class, full of vigor. I don't need to say more about what they are thinking. If we don't use the class rules to manage the situation, in such a learning environment, how can our Jezebel study at ease in the future and take the postgraduate entrance exams and doctoral entrance exams? I was almost furious when I saw this. Every statement she made stepped on my nerves. I regretted leaving the group early. I should have had a huge quarrel with her in the group. How can there be a woman who is so misogynistic herself? However, half of the students in this class are girls. Seeing that she spoke so unpleasantly, the parents of those girls who hadn't had time to leave the group immediately started scolding her out of anger. Idiot! Are you sick? Is your son an emperor? Do all the girls want to seduce him? Jezebel's mother. If you really have nothing to do, go and find a job. You're not quite normal. As my child would say, even the gold miner couldn't dig out such pure divine gold. What's the matter? Aren't you a woman yourself? If you're afraid that your precious son can't abide by male virtues, you should quickly castrate him to ensure that nothing will happen. After scolding, everyone left the group even faster, leaving Jezebel's mother alone, jumping up and down helplessly and trying to refute. The parent who sent me the chat screenshots was the second last to leave the group. She did her best to take screenshots for me. Jezebel's mother thought she was the only one who agreed with her, just as she sent a wronged expression to win her over. She also quickly left the group. At this point, the parents' group fell apart on its own. It was dissolved from within less than an hour after it was established. This kind-hearted parent also comforted me, telling me not to care too much about the crazy talk and that everyone supported me. Many other parents also sent their regards. They told me not to take what happened tonight to heart and all expressed their trust in the school management, and that they didn't need the parents' group either. Only then did I feel a little relieved. After all, there are more normal people. Just as I was about to have a good sleep, suddenly I received a barrage of private messages from Jezebel's mother. It was all the brilliant opinions about the management of the parents' group that she had just said in the group. I guess she thought I hadn't seen the group chat and lied to me, saying that all the other parents were scolding me in the group for being irresponsible, seeing that I didn't reply no matter what she said. She directly threw out a harsh statement. A head teacher actually dares to leave the group. Are you so arrogant because you have connections? Little girl, just wait. Tomorrow I will go to the school to complain about you. I really wanted to reply to her. You'd better keep your word. Just let the school see clearly how many strange people our new head teacher has to face every day. Maybe the work tasks in the future can be reduced a little. I have a big heart. No matter how angry I am, I don't like to keep things in my heart afterwards. So as soon as I turned off my phone, I soon fell into a deep sleep. Let her get more nodules if she likes to be angry. However, Jezebel's mother's combat effectiveness indeed lived up to my expectations. Early the next morning, as soon as I arrived at school, I was called over by Joe, the department head. As soon as I entered his office, I found that May, the deputy department secretary in charge of teachers, professional ethics, was also there. Of course, Jezebel's mother, in a dark red figure hugging Cheongzam, was standing gracefully beside Director Joe. Director Joe had a serious expression. He reminded her several times before Jezebel's mother reluctantly sat down opposite his desk. Yuki, this parent of Jezebel reported to the department that you, as a head teacher, are inactive and lazy in governance and should be replaced. Now I call you sure to let everyone understand the situation together. As soon as Jezebel's mother heard this, she described my behavior last night, exaggerating it 10 times. Right in my face. The more Director Joe listened, the more tightly his brows furrowed. He asked me to tell my side of the story as well. I also told the truth about what happened last night and showed them 50 class rules and screenshots of other parents' statements. After reading them, the two were tacitly silent for a long time. I understand that it's really a bit hard for normal people to digest this. Finally, Director Joe cleared his throat lightly and summarized. So the contradiction is that Jezebel's parent established the parents' group, but you left the group. And then she got angry. I nodded. Jezebel's mother was not satisfied. She stood up, pointed at me and continued to scold angrily. It's not as simple as leaving the group. This is her irresponsible performance. As a head teacher, shouldn't she take the initiative to establish the group, actively reply to parents, and report all students' situations to parents every day? I was kind-hearted enough to share her burden. I worked hard to at all the parents of the class on WeChat during the orientation, established the group and invited everyone in. She didn't appreciate it at all. Instead, she incited the parents to leave the group. Where should I put my face? Also, there are also big problems with your school's staff management. A head teacher is dressed so improperly. Don't you wear formal clothes at work? My son is at this age and is most likely to be distracted. What if he is seduced by her? Secretary May interrupted unhappily. Comrade, please pay attention to your wording. I couldn't bear it either. I stood up and refuted loudly. Please tell me. What did I wear that was improper? I wore a new style Chinese style modified Cheongzan today. The length was over my knees and the style was loose. I don't understand how wearing this is improper. I looked her up and down. Why don't you look in the mirror? The slit of the Cheongzan you're wearing is even higher than mine. She became even angrier when she heard my address. How can that be the same? I'm just a student's parent. And you're a head teacher who is with students every day. You don't need to act in front of me. I know all about what you young girls are thinking. I smiled. Really? It seems that you also have a lot of improper thoughts when you wear this Cheongzam. You. How can a girl have such a venomous tongue? Seeing that the atmosphere was getting more and more tense, Director Joe slapped the table to stop the quarrel. Jezebel's parent. Please respect our school teachers. Otherwise there is no need for us to have this conversation. I have fully understood the situation. And now I will give my solution. When she heard Director Joe say this, her eyes lit up and she looked at me with a smug smile. She must have thought that the department head would side with her. After all, she seemed to be very experienced in being unreasonable and was not easy to get rid of. Moreover, there are indeed too many school leaders who will let teachers take the blame indiscriminately. Precisely because of this, the work of a head teacher is becoming increasingly difficult. However, after a while, she couldn't laugh anymore. Director Joe solemnly made a conclusion. First, our school doesn't require the establishment of a parents' group, so the head teacher is not at fault in this regard at all. Second, many of the class regulations you have made do not conform to our school regulations, and also involve some discriminatory remarks. We do not recommend their adoption. Third, the head teacher's dress does not violate public order and good customs. And our school doesn't require teachers to wear formal clothes to work either. You shouldn't slander her at will and need to apologize to her. Jezebel's mother exploded after hearing this. She jumped up, pointed at Director Joe, and then at me, with an expression as if she had seen through some hidden truth. You. And you. Oh, I see. There must be some ulterior relationship between you two. No wonder you are covering up this new teacher everywhere. Director Joe's face darkened. He was over 50 years old, and had devoted his life to academics. He had never seen such a shrewish woman. Even when extremely angry, he only threw out a sentence, "Please be careful with your words and deeds. Otherwise we have the right to sue you for slander and rumor-mongering." Secretary May couldn't bear to watch any longer and gave a warning. If you think we are unfair in handling things or are not confident in your child's situation here, it is recommended that you transfer him to another department or withdraw him from school. The department will surely cooperate in handling the relevant procedures. Jezebel's mother was immediately subdued. Her eyes wandered for a long time. Her lips moved. But she didn't say anything more. She was probably weighing the pros and cons of making a fuss. After all, we are a key university. And her son had managed to get in with great difficulty. Transferring to another department or the like is not an easy matter for ordinary people to hear. In case the transfer fails and this place doesn't want him either, and he is sent back right at the beginning of the semester, she would have no way to explain it to her son and her family. Seeing that she had some misgivings, Director Joe thought of giving her a way out. He made her give up the idea of making this matter bigger and also gave me a stern lecture. Yuki, when doing things, you should pay attention to methods. Although you haven't violated the school's discipline and regulations, as a head teacher, contacting the family is also part of your work, and the way of communication is also very important. Well, since it's all for the students, let's all take a step back. There is no need to establish a parents' group. If this parent has problems regarding her child, she can contact you via private message or phone call to communicate. Parent, do you think this is okay? Almost instinctively, Jezebel's mother rejected it. No. I pay tuition for my child to go to university. Am I just going to let her be idle so easily? The head teacher should originally do a good job as a server. The parents' group must be established. Otherwise, I won't feel at ease about my Jezebel. Besides, if I agree now, what if she ignores me when I private message her? Who will uphold justice for me? She must establish the group. Right of 5. 0 word written self-criticism. And publicly apologized to me via video in the group. I sneered and immediately made my attitude clear as well. Director, I will never accept this result either. First, I will not establish the group. None of the classes in the whole school has established a group. There is no need for me to break the rule for her and increase my workload. I am a head teacher, not a customer service staff. Second, I will not apologize. On the contrary, Jezebel's mother has maliciously speculated about me many times and insulted me verbally. I have the right to demand that she formally apologize to me. Otherwise, I refuse to communicate with her. Jezebel's mother couldn't believe it. She stared at me without blinking, and her voice was so high-pitched that it went out of tune. As an adult, don't bother with the faults of a petty person, and let you off for the time being. How dare you still ask me to apologize? I insisted. If you don't apologize, then please let Jezebel transfer to another class, or let me transfer to another class. Then you transfer quickly. Director, you heard it. She asks to transfer classes. Let her transfer. Jezebel's mother said in surprise. The director was so headache that he held his forehead. It was really impossible to communicate with such a parent. Secretary May had to come forward to play the good cop. Parent, please make one thing clear. The position of the head teacher in the school is not something that can be changed at will as you like. Besides, Teacher Yuki hasn't violated the school-level regulations, and the department can't change her class. If your son really can't accept this head teacher, you can apply for a class transfer normally. However, I need to remind you that in this major, Teacher Yuki is in charge of only this one class in the whole department. If you transfer classes, it means transferring majors, and the grades need to meet the school's requirements for major transfer. Jezebel's mother was obviously hesitant and didn't express her opinion for a long time. After struggling for a very long time, under the double pressure and ideological work of the director and the secretary, we both took a step back. She apologized to me, and I didn't change my position as the head teacher. But the department leaders will come forward to establish a parents group, and I will join the group to cooperate with the work. Other parents can join the group if they like. This is a class with special management. After apologizing, she left angrily. Director Joe and Secretary May both came over, patted me on the back and comforted me a little. Yuki, you've worked hard. It's not easy for a new teacher. I smiled bitterly. Actually, the leaders are quite understanding towards us newbies. I can only persevere a little more. Although the new group was established by Secretary May, she is usually very busy and has no time to manage it. As soon as the group was established, she issued an announcement: no one is allowed to make class regulations without the consent of the department. No spamming, and no need to reply. And it was stated that this group is only used for communicating necessary matters. For questions about students' living aspects, you can consult the counselor Minnie. And for study-related questions, consult the head teacher Yuki. Jezebel's mother, as if she hadn't seen the announcement, arrogantly sent a message as soon as she entered the group. I said the parents' group was very necessary. Fortunately, the school supported me. Some people who have cursed me are really like clowns. Secretary May immediately her. Please read the group announcement. If you send irrelevant matters again, you will be removed from the group. Jezebel's mother immediately stopped talking, knowing that I had encountered such a crazy woman when taking charge of a class for the first time. My colleagues were extremely sympathetic towards me and cheered me on one after another. However, when I complained about this matter to my boyfriend Todd at night, his reaction was different from that of other colleagues. He jumped up as if he had stepped on all and mine and accused me. Yuki, how could you be so irresponsible? I was startled by him and looked at him in bewilderment. It's not a big deal. The first time, you should have turned a blind eye in the parents' group and just mumbled a couple of perfunctory responses. How could you impulsively quit the group? You're still too much of a prima donna. You've just entered the school and it's still the first-year probation period. When you encounter this kind of problem, you should endure it. What if the leader has an opinion of you? I was shocked by his remarks. For the first time in 5 years, I felt that I still didn't know him well enough. I casually replied, "Oh, if the leader has an opinion of me, so be it. At worst, I'll change my job. It's not like I can't find a job." Are you kidding? I did my undergraduate, master's, and doctoral degrees consecutively. During the 8 years, I worked extremely hard, being used like a beast of burden by my supervisor. My hair was almost gone before I published several core journal papers. With these achievements, several schools scrambled to recruit me as a talent as soon as I graduated. Becoming a head teacher is indeed for the need of professional title evaluation. But even if I leave this school, I have many places to go. This is the reason for my hard work and the confidence for my boldness. Do I need to be submissive and let others bully me in front of someone who doesn't respect me at all? However, I suddenly remembered that there was one person who really needed to. Todd, who only got a low-quality master's degree and didn't pursue further studies. He had been directly employed for a few years after graduation, but was unfortunately laid off some time ago. His family worried about his job all day long. When they learned that the school recruiting doctors could solve the administrative establishment problem for the spouse, his family begged me several times. I was soft-hearted and agreed to bring him into the school. As soon as I complete the formalities here, after we get the marriage certificate, we can start handling his employment. I looked at him gloomily. You wouldn't be so worried because you're afraid it will affect your job, right? Todd's face instantly became strange as he retorted. You're overthinking it. How could it be? It's just an administrative job. Don't you think our 5-year relationship is more important? I didn't question him anymore, but secretly decided that getting the marriage certificate would have to be postponed for a while. Probably because the department's attitude was tough. Jezebel's mother was quiet for quite a few days. Almost no one in the group talked either. Originally, such a group was not really necessary in the university. These days, I was busy with the start of term affairs, teaching, and scientific research. I was so exhausted that I didn't have time to pay attention to her situation at all. I thought she should have calmed down. One day in the early morning, when I was writing a thesis, I was suddenly bombarded by her craziness in the group again. Jezebel's mother freshman version. Yuki, you are in charge of learning, right? Please explain why my Jezebel was assigned to class in this entrance English placement test. Are you, as the head teacher, being partial? Or are you taking out your anger on the child because of me? How will our Jezebel have the face to face other classmates in the future? I simply felt baffled. There was a sense of absurdity that was funny, but I didn't know where it came from. Was this the so-called reward for being a head teacher? Seeing that I didn't reply for a long time, she started to harass others again. May, the deputy party secretary of the department. Leader, say something. Your teachers are pretending to be dead. My fingers quickly tapped on the screen as I organized my counterattack language. Jezebel's mother freshman version. Dear parent, I have only 2 responses to this. 1. I am a professional course teacher, and all the courses I am responsible for teaching are science and engineering courses in this major. 2. Leaving aside the fact that I'm not an English teacher. Isn't this entrance English placement test to test students' English proficiency before enrollment? I believe that anyone who has received 9-year compulsory education can understand what I mean and won't say any more nonsense. Unexpectedly, this mother was really a tough nut to crack. She could come up with the most tricky angles. Even if you're not an English teacher, all subjects are related. Why couldn't you improve his English score? It's still because you teachers didn't teach well. The excellence of one child doesn't mean anything. Only when all the children in a class are excellent can it show that it's really good. Don't you know that not one should be left behind? I didn't originally intend to keep fighting, but since she insisted on being crazy enough, I had no choice but to accompany her. I directly took a screenshot and threw out the English placement test score sheet. In this test, in the whole class, only Jezebel was assigned to class. And there are very few people in class. I believe this is enough to show whose problem it is, right? I suggest that if the parents really care about this score, they should have improved the students' relevant ability during the summer vacation. Once the score sheet was out, the other side was silent for several minutes. But I didn't expect that she still found a breakthrough for her attack. Then, as a university head teacher, Why didn't you remind all the parents earlier during the summer vacation? All right. At this point, words have become an art. After all, I started working in September, and it's my fault that I couldn't predict her needs during the July-August summer vacation. After a long while, I still replied to her with one sentence. Jezebel's mother. It's really a pity that you don't become a cook. She replied instantly. What do you mean? I said. Your pot-shirking skills are first class. Since our argument happened in the early morning, at that time, the parents were basically asleep and no one replied. But early the next morning, quite a few parents couldn't stand it any longer and came out to speak for me, starting the group mocking mode again. Probably they really couldn't bear Jezebel's mother's madness anymore. Is this Aristotle's sister? Ms. Sennimashi Duo. May I ask if I've already been vaccinated against rabies? Do I still need to be afraid of her? Jezebel's mother. Promise me that you must be yourself, because you can't do anything else well. Jezebel's mother was so pissed off by the scolding that she didn't show up again until 3 full days later. And she came up with a new trick. Jezebel's mother freshman version, May, the deputy party secretary of the department. Your teacher led the cyber-bullying against me. But I'll let it go for now. But I thought about it again when I went back. If the child's grades are not good, it's still the teacher's fault. Our Jezebel used to be so excellent. How come his grades have dropped since he entered the university? The head teacher is so young. It's obvious that she got in through connections. Not as good as the experienced old teachers. I reasonably asked her to submit a detailed report on her teaching qualifications, along with the scanned original copies of her academic degree certificates, and finish it within today and send it to me for review, to see if she was qualified to continue teaching. Yuki. When I saw this chat record in the office, I was speechless. My colleagues were also shocked and cited her extraordinary audacity, which was unprecedented. Only Todd looked nervous. He advised me, well, why don't you cooperate with her this time? Just ignore her after you get the permanent position. As he said that, he took the initiative to download what Jezebel's mother sent and even helped me open it. I casually glanced at the form and immediately wanted to call the police. In this form, apart from the regular content to be filled in a resume, there were also height, weight, 3-dimensional measurements, family members, work situation, family financial situation, personal relationship status, marriage and family plan, and birth plan. No, I was wrong. Even the police might not ask such detailed questions. I looked at Todd. Do you still insist that I fill it in? He was in a dilemma. Actually, it's okay. There's nothing that can't be told to others. I smiled. Okay, then shall I fill in your information? That's impossible. If you can't do it yourself, don't force me. I pushed Todd away, created a new form, edited it vigorously for half an hour, and then directly threw it into the group. I sent a series of messages. Jezebel's mother freshman version. Your request has been received. Correspondingly, I also need to collect some basic information about your family, here to evaluate whether your baby is qualified to continue studying in this class. Please complete it within the same time period and submit it to me for review. No late submissions will be accepted. Mainly, you need to submit details of family assets. Real estate should be accurate to square meters. Location and apartment type. Movable property should be accurate to the year and depreciation rate. Family member introductions, and mental health assessment forms, intelligence test forms, college entrance examination scores, academic achievements, credit reports for each member, and most importantly, the thickness of your skin. Accurate to 2 decimal places. Jezebel's mother might think that I didn't surf the internet. The strange form she learned from online hot posts. I had already learned the solution in the commentary long ago. In this world, only magic can defeat magic. Todd frowned. This is not good, right? It's too embarrassing for her. Aren't you afraid that she will make a fuss? I asked him in confusion. Strange. Whose boyfriend are you exactly? Whose side are you on? Wasn't it she who made things difficult for me first? Todd smiled sheepishly and then comforted me instead. I'm just afraid that she will report you again. There's no good in offending such a petty person. I was a bit depressed and found that recently. I understood Todd less and less. At this time, Jezebel's mother probably had read the form I sent. She was so angry that she blurted out whatever came to her mind. Teacher Yuki. Don't digress. You don't dare to submit your information because it's a fake diploma. Right? I smiled again. I don't usually like to show off. Unless I meet someone who is showing off. This time I didn't hold back and directly threw my prestigious university's doctorate graduation certificate and degree certificate into the group. By the way, I also attached a link to the campus official website page, which had a detailed introduction to my personal academic achievements. Am I qualified to teach? Jezebel's mother? Now it's your turn. Please also show your qualifications sufficient to review me. Other parents in the group all came out to echo. Since she kept saying that she understood education, she should also show hers. She can review a doctorate. So she must be at least a postdoctorate or a full professor. Right? But no matter how everyone mocked her and her, she just refused to come out. Finally, when she was severely ridiculed in the group, she pitifully jumped out and played the role of a damsel in distress. Alas, we are not as highly educated as you all because we haven't read many books. I'm just a rough person and not very good at talking. Please don't mind. I'm also doing it for everyone's good. Why force me? Well, this person can be flexible and can also act. She is all-powerful in the parents' group. To be honest, I really admire her thickness of skin. Moreover, she has a very good mentality. Every time she is severely slapped in the face in the group, after a while, she can come back as if nothing had happened and continue to make trouble. One can imagine how those head teachers from her child's kindergarten to high school have lived these years. I often sigh with my colleagues that if I had this psychological quality, I could succeed in anything. My colleague sighed. In this world, people with thick skin live better. People like us have read a few more books. But we always lose out because of our face. Everyone nodded in agreement. The biggest function of this group now is to provide materials for office complaints. I'm even a little curious about what wonderful performance Jezebel's mother will bring next time. When it comes to making trouble, she never fails to do so. One day, a student in the group had a traffic accident at home suddenly. The student had a fracture and was sent to the hospital. When the parent asked for leave from the counselor, in a hurry, he sent the accident photo to the group. 1 minute after the damaged Mercedes-Benz shone brightly in the group, I watched helplessly as the group name of the parents' group was changed by user Jezebel's mother freshman version to Jezebel's mother divorce schooling off period. She also sent a message of concern casually, Fathered Annual. It's so serious. Do you need us to go to the hospital to help? But the other side was probably busy and no one paid attention to her. I was really too tired to complain, and silently changed the group name back to the original homeschool group name. Half a minute later, Jezebel's mother changed it back again. Helpless, I had to remind her in the group, Jezebel's mother. If you want to change your personal nickname, don't click on the group name. Please pay attention. Several parents in the group saw it and also sent sarcastic smiling emojis. Before long, the group name was changed back. But Jezebel's mother sent another one of her carefully reach out private art photos. Jezebel's mother divorce schooling off period. Sorry. It was sent to my best friend. It was a wrong send and there was no time to withdraw it. In the photo, she was scantily dressed. Her body curves were clear, and she had a suggestive expression. All I can say is that it's hard to comment. By chance, Secretary May saw the pictures. Unable to hold back, she immediately sent the following message 3 times. This group is only for necessary homeschool communication. Parents, please pay attention to your proper words and deeds. Everyone, Jezebel's mother was afraid of being kicked out of the group, so she didn't dare to send private photos in the group anymore. But the next day, Daniel's father sent me a private message, asking me what was wrong with Jezebel's mother, from yesterday to today. She had been continuously adding him on WeChat and using all kinds of strange language. But he was busy dealing with an accident in the hospital and didn't notice. Actually, I know Daniel's father. His name is William. And his wife is Teacher Winnie in our school's physical education department. Teacher Winnie said she didn't have the patience to deal with these parent-teacher groups. Since Daniel was a child, it had always been Daniel's father who joined the groups and took care of these matters. I told William that he must not accept Jezebel's mother's WeChat request. Otherwise there would be countless troubles. He agreed with me, thinking that Jezebel's mother seemed to be a troublemaker at first sight. I snickered to myself. If Jezebel's mother knew what a tough woman Daniel's mother was, she would surely regret her current actions. Since Jezebel's mother had changed her profile picture, I casually clicked into her WeChat moments and found that her style seemed to have changed a great deal. Previously, she would post 3 times a day parenting-related chicken soup for the soul in her WeChat moments, plus some emotional posts late at night. But from last night until now, she had posted a total of 20 WeChat moments. Besides various lonely and sad-themed literature and borderline private style artistic photos, there were also a lot of luxury brand showing off posts, and some pictures of luxuriously decorated hotels. I clicked on them in the office and couldn't help being amazed. My colleague beside me could tell at a glance that all of them were fakes. What's the point of showing off such obviously fake things? If you want to be vain, at least go to Guangzhou to buy some high-quality replicas. You even join a group buying for celebrity-style portraits? Oh my god. This industry chain still exists? I've seen the background of this hotel so many times on Shoganshu. I guess that since Jezebel's mother had spent so much effort to create an image of a wealthy lady, she probably wouldn't let it go so easily. Sure enough, a few days later, Daniel was able to leave the hospital and return to school. On that day, Jezebel's mother also showed up at the school. Because William had previously posted pictures of the traffic accident in the group, many parents had expressed their concern in the group. On the morning when Daniel was discharged from the hospital, William deliberately sent messages in the group saying that the child had been discharged and everyone could rest assured. And he also thanked everyone for their concern. Jezebel's mother probably thought she had caught an opportunity to get acquainted. So she also came to the boys' dormitory under the pretext of seeing her son. Todd happened to be free. So I asked him to be with me and wait for the students to come back downstairs in the boys' dormitory. I didn't expect to meet Jezebel's mother, who was dressed in famous brands. Downstairs, when she saw me, her expression was unnatural for a moment. And then she snorted arrogantly. After that, her eyes kept looking me and my boyfriend up and down without any restraint. Todd was also looking at her. He was secretly amazed and whispered to me, "Is this the parent of your student? She looks very young in person, and seems quite powerful. She doesn't look like someone who would cause so much trouble." I found it funny. The added value of famous brands to one's amiability was really high. Todd was born in the countryside, and hadn't seen many luxury goods. So he naturally thought that all the things she was wearing were genuine. Not long after, Daniel and their car arrived downstairs. After the car stopped steadily, William helped him get out of the back seat. Jezebel's mother's eyes lit up again, and she twisted her body coquettously. "Oh, brother William. What a coincidence to meet you here." Obviously, Daniel and his father were very embarrassed and looked bewildered because they didn't know this woman at all. "Brother William, don't you remember me? I'm Jezebel's mother, Xiaowan." As she said this, she pretended to fall without any sense of propriety, and the direction she fell was towards William. She was too impatient and completely failed to notice that William was helping Daniel, who was on crutches, and Teacher Winnie, William's wife, who had just got out of the driver's seat, was walking over. Teacher Winnie had studied martial arts and had a strong build. She reached out with one hand and pushed Jezebel's mother away. "What's going on? Who are you?" Who is this person? Why is she throwing herself at you? Both Daniel and his father shook their heads and said, We don't know her. Jezebel's mother didn't stand firmly and fell on her butt. With great difficulty. She got up from the ground and looked at Teacher Winnie. But she didn't think much and coquettously said to William, Brother William, your bodyguard is so shrewish. So barbaric. She made my butt hurt. Teacher Winnie became angry at once. She recognized Jezebel's mother's face as the one who had sent dozens of friend-adding requests to her husband every day. And she also remembered that she had been clinging to William just now. Without saying a word, she slapped Jezebel's mother several times. Jezebel's mother was beaten and fell to the ground. I'm his wife. And I'm still alive. What do you want? After hearing this, Jezebel's mother calmed down and covered her face, crying on the ground. No one paid any attention to her anymore. At this time, I stepped forward to say hello and accompanied Teacher Winnie and the others to send Daniel to the dormitory building. But when we came down again, Jezebel's mother was gone. Strangely, Todd was also gone. No matter how I called or sent messages, Todd didn't answer or reply. I guessed that he had left in a hurry because of something urgent, so I didn't bother about it anymore. But that night, he didn't return to the apartment either. He only sent me a WeChat message saying that something had suddenly happened in his hometown and he had to rush back to have a look. 3 days later, Todd came back with dark circles under his eyes, looking very haggard. Normally, with our 5-year relationship, I wouldn't have suspected him. But he had been acting very strangely recently. Combined with his scarce phone calls and messages during the 3 days when he disappeared. He must be hiding something. I just asked him a few simple questions. But he was very impatient. I told you it was something in my hometown. You're not interested in it. There are too many relatives. So there are definitely a lot of weddings and funerals. You know that. I didn't say anything more. But in my heart, my idea of getting married wavered a little more. I was lost in thought when suddenly I was massively in the group again. There was no need to guess. It was surely Mama Jezebel. Mama Jezebel in the infatuated version. Attention all parents. There is an important announcement. I was wondering why the child has been saying recently that he can't understand the lessons. It turns out that our class teacher is busy with her love affair every day. So what if she has a high educational level? If she doesn't teach well and only knows how to fall in love every day? No wonder she is heavily made up every day. I was really speechless. She slandered me time and time again. And I had to refute the rumors again and again. What kind of hardships in the world is this? I sent a clarifying statement. Adult men and women are in a normal relationship. And it's not during working hours. Why not? Mama Jezebel, aren't you also in the infatuated version? I see that your divorce schooling off period has not been a month yet. For the first time, Mama Jezebel was pissed off. No one in the group helped her. So this time she moved her trouble-making battlefield to a bigger stage. That night, a hot post became popular on a popular female social platform. Someone anonymously complained that the child's class teacher was a young girl with too many thoughts. She had no teacher's ethics. She regarded herself as a princess. Every day, a bunch of male students surrounded her. And she had no sense of boundaries with male students. It was not clear whether she went to school to teach or to find young guys. The pictures attached were a few secretly taken photos of students surrounding me to ask questions after class. Just from the side face, it could be seen that it was me. In the photo, I was full of youth. And I happened to be looking into the eyes of a male student. And everyone at the scene was smiling happily. But no one cared whether those were normal exchanges of academic problems between teachers and students or just scenes of sharing interesting things at school. A few blurry pictures, combined with a paragraph of guiding complaint text, were enough to make uninformed onlookers leave thousands of scolding comments. When it was pushed to me by big data, I was also very confused. I clicked into this blogger's account and saw that the complaints had been going on for a long time. And she had also attracted thousands of followers because of this. The complaint titles were all things like related party, withdrawing from the parent group without permission, taking the lead in cyberbullying parents, wearing different clothes every day of the week, heavily made up in class, being in love every day, and having no heart for class, suspecting that the class teacher has a close relationship with the department leader, etc. I was beyond angry. Immediately, I contacted a lawyer friend and was ready to directly sue her for slander and infringement of the right of reputation. I hung up the phone and was about to tell Todd about this. Unexpectedly, he came to question me first. Yuki, are you having an ambiguous relationship with your students? I looked at him in disbelief. Who said that? Where is the evidence? He threw out a few photos. The same as those on the internet. Never mind. Anyway, it was reported by the parents of the students. I didn't expect you to be such a person. No wonder I urged you several times but you refused to get married. Since this is the case, the 66 yuan of betrothal gift that was previously agreed upon doesn't need to be given. You will give a dowry of a 500 yuan car and buy a house for my parents. Then we can pretend that this has never happened. We will go to get the marriage certificate tomorrow. I was shocked by his actions. If a normal person discovers that his partner has cheated, would he react like this? Not to mention the fact that I haven't cheated. Suppose I have cheated. Instead of breaking up with me, you ask me to get the marriage certificate? And you also want to increase the dowry? Is this normal? Are you talking about feelings or making a deal? He realized that his attitude was too direct, and his tone softened a little. Now that you are being gossiped about, it may be because you are not married and are easily misunderstood. It will be okay after getting the marriage certificate. No one will say anything about you as a class teacher anymore. I sneered. What kind of class teacher should I still be? Being pestered by freaks every day is already annoying enough. I'm going to resign right now. Todd was worried. How can you resign? Anyway, you have to wait until I get employed. Finally, he told the truth. I had a blank face. Since you think I have a problem with my morality, then let's break up. Todd gritted his teeth. Fine. I can see that your heart is not on me. Go find your young guys. Break up then. But before breaking up, I demand that we get the marriage certificate first, and then the divorce certificate later. Why? Am I crazy? Breaking up and making myself a divorced person first? I was full of question marks. He said righteously, how can I get employed in the school without getting the marriage certificate? Am I going to lose my job because of your mistake? When people are speechless, they will really laugh. I cleared my throat. Please figure out the logical relationship first. This is not your position. Here you are just my accessory. Without me, you can't even enter the school gate. Todd was so humiliated that he couldn't say a word for a long time. Finally, he threw out a sentence, "Don't bully the poor young man," viciously, and ran away. Later, his family members came to me one after another to pour out their woes and have a heart-to-heart talk. It was nothing more than wanting me not to break up impulsively, not to resign, and to keep Todd's formal job as the only son in the family. I was so annoyed that I moved directly and blacklisted everyone related to him. Breaking up was the good karma I deserved. As for resigning, why should I resign? I have studied hard for so many years to get the treatment I have now. The department leaders are also nice. I haven't made any mistakes. Why should I lose my own interests for freaks? Later, Todd's whole family went to make trouble at the school and asked the leaders for the position, saying that it was originally his. After the school leaders learned that Todd and I had already broken off the engagement and separated, they directly asked the security guards to drive them all out. My lawyer quickly wrote the lawsuit against Mama Jezebel. That is, Mama Jezebel. I sent all the evidence of what Mama Jezebel had done in the parent group this year together with the lawsuit to the same social platform to clarify myself. Everyone was shocked. It was unexpected that a university teacher could encounter such a crazy woman. It was also unexpected that there were still people who would distort the facts, frame mothers instead. and plan in advance to slander me. Thanks to the power of big data, the class teachers of all the kindergartens, primary schools, junior high schools and high schools where Jezebel had studied all came out to expose Mama Jezebel together. It is said that Jezebel's mother made up all kinds of reasons, which drove away countless head teachers and made many teachers and parents cry with anger. She was once rejected by several schools. But before, since no one knew that the account belonged to her, no one came out to scold her. Now that the truth has come to light, under the heavy criticism of everyone, Jezebel's mother has nowhere to hide and can only delete her account and run away. After being ostracized on the internet, she went home and was beaten half to death by her husband, who had already wanted to divorce her, and was so despised by her son Jezebel, who was suspended from school, that he wanted to break off the mother-son relationship with her. She also has to divide her energy to deal with my lawsuit. She can be described as extremely embarrassed. Finally, the last news about her was that she and Todd were caught red-handed by her husband when they were having sex in a hotel room. Todd was beaten by her husband and lost his fertility. And Jezebel's mother was also disabled. Jezebel's mother's husband was put in prison, but for the rest of their lives, she and Todd probably can only depend on each other. Their reputations are so bad that no one wants them. As long as Todd's family, young and old, don't dislike their only heir who should bring honor to the family for marrying such a woman. A colleague who had eaten all the gossip asked me, "Tell me, how could Todd take a fancy to such a useless crazy woman? Is he blind?" I laughed so hard that my stomach ached. He really thought that Jezebel's mother was a rich woman. Before he was caught in adultery, he even sent me a text message to show off, saying that it was nothing great to be a pure teacher all his life. Just a life of poverty with a foreseeable end. Maybe he was crazy about getting rich. The end. It should be noted that this is a translation based on the original text, but the content involves some negative and unethical situations,